Hey guys, welcome back. So, in this week's video, we're going to be talking about Metroid Prime and the bombshell that dropped today. Now, as many gamers know, or may have heard, or kind of seen, Nintendo released a video saying that they're not going to be doing Metroid Prime anytime soon, basically. But why? And what does that mean for us? And could it actually bring good news? Or at least better news than the bad news? I don't know. But let's talk about it and predict where this might bring Nintendo for the year. Alright, so as many of you probably have heard, or now you're hearing, that Nintendo released a video today talking about how they needed to stop production of Metroid Prime 4. They needed to basically start from the beginning and bring in Retro Studios, the group that made the first Prime trilogy. That is crazy, because from what everyone was hearing or thought or assumed, that the game was going pretty well and might have even been released this year. I know I saw plenty of tweets and plenty of posts that Amazon was doing pre-orders for Metroid Prime 4. This place was doing pre-orders for Metroid Prime 4. I just kept seeing pre-orders, Metroid Prime 4, popping up in my Twitter account for the past couple weeks. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe some people are hearing things I haven't seen or read. So maybe it is coming out this year. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people were hoping, maybe speculating, that Metroid Prime would come out maybe this Christmas. That would be the big game. We know about Pokemon. That's supposed to be coming out this year. And, you know, Yoshi's Woolly World, or Crafted World, sorry. You know, other games, Animal Crossing, things like that. But, you know, Prime seemed like the big game that probably was going to come out this year for Nintendo. But then they turn around and announce that, yeah, they're basically scrapping the project and starting over. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean, like, they're going to rewrite a new story? Start fresh and go back to the drawing board? Or are they taking what they already have, you know, maybe story-wise, the world that they might be going into, and having Retro Studios and them work on fixing the issue of what the game is? Which I hope that's not the case, because it may get the game out sooner, but you can't make something better that's not that good if you're just trying to fit everything in, because then it just feels like a misplaced game. Maybe they're just going to take the story and start building the game up from there. Hopefully it's not they want to do a new story, maybe a new place, and lose all the assets or anything else that they've built for this game. Because then we might be another 4 years from a Metroid Prime 4? That would be unfortunate. But it's been this long. If we're going to get it, it might as well be as best as it can be. And it might be best that way. Hopefully it's just, they're going to just reprogram the whole game. Start fresh, but keep the story. Keep anything that can help speed along the actual production of the game without starting completely fresh. And without making it seem like they took a game that was bad and try to, like, rework it to make it better. Now, the other thing that I'm hoping is the case is now Nintendo is sitting there and looking at their window of release games and being like, we kind of lost a big hit game that we were preparing for, maybe for 2019, maybe early 2020, or maybe it wasn't even on the release anyways for the year, and they already have the list of games that they want out. What I'm hoping is they did have a release date for this year. And now they're looking at, okay, we need something for E3. We need something for this year. Now, here's what I think would be the easiest thing for them to do. And maybe the thing they do and the thing that I like. Now, they may already have this in the pipeline. But what I'm hoping is maybe, I know people don't like this word, ported, another port, more ports, but maybe Nintendo's like, we need to fill the gap. Something that will bring out, you know, the gamers to be happy that comes out. Now, there's a couple different things that I think that they could release for games, speed them up. Obviously, Pokemon, they got to make sure that it's done this year. If they lose Pokemon for this year as well, it could be hard for them in the holiday season. So I think they definitely need to focus on getting that out and making that the game people want. Now, if it does get pushed back, you know, that's fine. We want the best game you can possibly have. But I think they need to really focus on that game, and they got like 8 months. So I think if they focus themselves, they can get that game out. But to add to it, to make the holiday season even better, N64 Classic? Yeah. No, that's not what I'm thinking, but it just popped in my head. I figured I'd say it. To make people happy, or, you know, add more games to the Switch to get people to buy more Switches, because that's their goal. Now, I don't think this would be console sellers, but I think it would help make the Nintendo be more received for Christmas. People would be happy that there's games coming out for it. Ports of Legend of Zeldas. So I say Legend of Zeldas because they could go a couple different ways. The less exciting way would be, hey, we're going to bring Wind Waker and Twilight Princess over because everything else from the Wii U is ported. I think if they were thinking about Legend of Zelda games one every year, I think they really need to announce that new Legend of Zelda game they're going to release for this year if they wanted to do one every year. I'm thinking that maybe they have a 2D Legend of Zelda game that was kind of in the works that they may want to speed up development and release on the Switch instead of the 3DS. You still get a lot of fans who would like to play it. I don't think it would sell systems, but at least it would be a Zelda game they could announce, and people are like, oh, all right, we have the Legend of Zelda ports, that's cool, and we have a 2D Legend of Zelda game for the Switch. Because obviously those don't take as long as, you know, 3D Legend of Zeldas to make. So if they were already working on one, you know, maybe they've speeded up the pipeline. Maybe they already have one they're going to announce for E3. But that would be a new game. I think that would draw some attention and help not sell systems, but sell games and bring Nintendo into the, you know, being like, oh, you got a cool new game. Let's talk about Nintendo. The other thing I'm thinking is you have the 2D Legend of Zelda, and then you do the port of Skyward Swords with better controls for the Switch. I never played the whole Skyward Swords. I really didn't like the way everything worked out very well. But you re-release it, you know, mastered HD for the Switch. That's a big release. It probably won't be a console seller because everyone that would play Legend of Zelda probably already bought the Switch for Breath of the Wild. But it would be a big game they could fit in their window for holiday, help sell their games, and, you know, be there. Now, is that the only thing they can do to make up for no Prime for this year? Probably not. They probably need to do a couple more things. And I think for Nintendo, the easiest thing to do would be to bring more ports over. But you're like, oh, well, what else can we bring over? Well, you could port Super Mario Maker. Maybe they already have it sitting in the drawing board. But I feel like Mario Maker, you really want to make sure everything works great. So you don't want to rush that. I kind of hope they do Super Mario Maker 3D. So you can make like Super Mario 3D Land type Mario Maker games. I know that'd be a little bit harder for people to make good levels, but I think that would be awesome. And that's the other port. Maybe you bring over Super Mario 3D Land, the Switch edition. You know, you announce maybe 3 or 4 ports that you weren't expecting. Get some side studios to help port it over. Why you lost Metroid Prime 4. So, I mean, you release Super Mario 3D Land port. You know, Wind Waker port, Twilight port, Skyward Swords port, and a new 2D Mario. Then you have at least some games to fill that hole that are big titles and people will be happy about. Maybe you port Metroid Return of Samus from the 3DS over to the Switch. I think if you did that, though, you may be kind of telling everybody the 3DS is officially dying and all games are coming over to the Switch. But I think there needs to be a place for some of those 3DS games to go, especially what if there's no more 3DS handheld consoles? You have the Switch. Are you keeping both? So I think maybe some of their big games that are going to count for the 3DS, maybe port over or not release for the 3DS and release for the Switch, to have some announcements and some good news. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe, next month they release a, direct with a game they weren't really going to announce, but, maybe kind of take the taste out of people's mouth and be like, oh, here's this game that we're going to announce that we know we can get done and won't have to redo development, which is why the ports make sense. They know they won't really fall behind and not like what's going on, because the 2 Legend of Zelda games are already ported to the Wii U. I don't see how it wouldn't be hard to port them back over. So, yes, it's sad that there's no Metroid Prime 4, but I prefer a better Metroid Prime 4 experience than getting a game and being like, yeah, I don't like this. It may take 3 years, 4 years, but it'll be a better game. And maybe because of this, it forces Nintendo to maybe step up some of their other games that they were kind of holding back on or didn't really want to do, and be like, all right, we got to do them now. So hopefully, maybe that brings over Mario Maker. Maybe that brings over the Legend of Zelda remakes. The one that I'd like to see is maybe, you take the Ocarina 3DS game and bring it over to the Switch so I can play it on the big screen. In like an HD remastered. That'd be awesome. Imagine Ocarina of Time HD remaster for the Switch. Could they get that done in a year? I have no idea. But that would be cool. So yeah, sad news, but maybe good news. We won't know for sure until maybe E3 comes around and Nintendo kind of lays a new game plan, because I would imagine from here to E3, they're probably thinking up new things they can do to get, the fans happy. So those are the things I hope they do. And yeah, alright guys, let me know what you think Nintendo might be thinking, why you might be happy that this Metroid Prime got postponed and is restarted, and maybe what you think they might be working on. Alright guys, have a good night, thanks for watching, don't forget to check out my other videos, leave a comment, share, press the subscribe button, the bell, do anything you want to do. Alright guys, have a good night, keep on gaming, and catch you next time.